Have you ever looked down at a smartwatch and just thought it felt kind of lifeless? Well, meet the HANSWATCH Terramaster. It's different. It uses this whole series of brilliant design tricks to create what I can only call a tactile illusion, making a totally flat screen feel like a real, physical object. So how does it pull it off? Let's dig in.
So let's start with the basic problem this design is trying to solve. Most smartwatch displays feel exactly like what they are: cold, flat pieces of glass. Yeah, they're functional for sure, but they usually don't have any real character or substance. At the end of the day, it's all just pixels under glass.
But the Terramaster? Man, it is something else entirely. It's not really a picture of a watch. It's more like a simulation of real materials. I just love this description of it. It looks like something you could run your fingernail across. So, the big question is, how in the world does it achieve this on a perfectly flat screen?
To crack this illusion, we've got to start at the foundation. I'm talking about the very first layer that sets the stage for everything else, the background texture. And trust me, this is not just some simple black color. It's way, way more intentional than that.
The designers actually have a name for this texture: the ballistic honeycomb weave. And that name, that's a huge clue. See, the goal isn't just to have a dark background, it's to convince your brain that you're looking at a specific, high-tech material.
And to make that material feel real, the design borrows from things we already know in the real world. You know, think Kevlar, or maybe the carbon fiber you'd find inside a supercar. But the real genius here is that it's a matte finish that eats the light. What that means is you get no glossy reflections, which is absolutely crucial for selling the illusion of a rough physical surface.
Okay, but a single texture, no matter how convincing it is, isn't enough to create a truly tactile feeling. The real magic happens with contrast. The Terramaster creates this feeling by simulating a whole symphony of different materials and then making them play off each other.
And right here is where you can really feel that contrast. On one hand, you've got the brushed metal of the subdials. You can almost see the little machining marks. It just looks cold and hard. But then you have the superluminova on the hands. It's got this warm, almost radioactive glow. And it looks like thick paint, like it has real volume, as if somebody physically applied it.
So, we've got convincing textures. That's great. But how do you create a sense of three-dimensional depth on a two-dimensional screen? Well, the answer is all about mastering the simple but incredibly powerful relationship between an object and its shadow.
So here's the trick. First, you have that dark, light-absorbing honeycomb base we talked about. Then, the design places a fixture, like this riveted day plate, that looks like it's sitting right on top of it. But here's the secret sauce. The plate casts this incredibly subtle, realistic shadow onto the weave below. That tiny little detail, that's what fools your brain into seeing real, physical depth.
Now, we've broken down all the hows, but that leads us to a much bigger question, right? Why? Why go to all of this painstaking trouble to simulate texture, materials, and depth on a digital screen? What's the real motive behind this whole design?
I mean, seriously, who is all this detail for? Most people are perfectly happy with a simple digital clock. This feels almost obsessive. So, who's the person that's going to appreciate this deep level of simulation?
Well, it turns out the designers had a very specific person in mind: the modern pathfinder. This isn't just a watch face for everybody. It's a piece of design that's tailored for a very particular mindset.
The modern pathfinder is someone who just hates fragility. Even if they know the watch is made of glass, they want the soul of the device to feel tough, substantial. They're the kind of person who values titanium and grit way more than sleek glass and gloss. This entire tactile illusion is built for them. It gives a digital tool a rugged, dependable spirit.
So what's the ultimate achievement of this whole design philosophy? When you put it all together, it's a fundamental transformation in how we actually perceive the object on our wrist.
All these details, the weave, the metal, the shadows, they all work together to do one amazing thing. They turn a gadget into a piece of gear. Think about that for a second. A gadget is a toy, something you play with. But gear is different. Gear is a tool. It's something you trust, something you rely on.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought, doesn't it? This deep dive into a single watch face, it forces us to ask a bigger question about all the technology we use. Through thoughtful design, where is that true line between a simple toy and a trusted tool?